What's up everyone, Mark here, and today we are making cranberry orange swirl bread. Now we did do an orange cinnamon swirl bread once before, quite a while back. This is going to be a bit different. And that one was really more of a cinnamon pound cake, and it just had some orange extract in it for an orange flavor. This time we are going to ramp up the orange flavor with actual fresh orange juice and orange zest. And we're going to include some dried cranberries as well as a swirl of cranberry chutney. The swirl is optional. I'm just using up some cranberry citrus chutney that I had from dinner the other night. Just seemed like a good way to do that. You can make some if you want. There are some commercial products available that you can get that more resemble fresh cranberry sauce or cranberry chutney versus the stuff in a can. I would say probably stay away from the stuff in a can for this recipe, only because it's just jellied, it's gelatin. Once it gets hot in the batter, it's gonna kind of melt into more of a liquid and just kind of ooze around. It won't really behave the way a normal swirl would. Other than that, you can leave the swirl out if you like, and it's still just as delicious cranberry orange bread. Before we get into the recipe, I want to thank you all again so much for continuing to watch the channel and continuing to support my videos. Please give the video a thumbs up if you like it, or a thumbs down if you don't. And remember to tell me what you think down in the comments. And I'm also always open to ideas for new videos, so please leave those in the comments as well. All right, let's get right into the recipe. All right, we've been doing these quick breads long enough now that I know you guys are not going to have a problem keeping up. So we have 3 cups of all-purpose flour. We have 3/4 cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt. We've got 1 1/4 cups of milk, 1/4 cup of fresh squeezed orange juice, and the zest of 1 orange. You should be able to get at least 1/4 cup of orange juice from the same orange that you zest. 1 egg lightly beaten, 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. We've got 1/3 cup of chopped walnuts, and about 1/3 cup of our cranberry chutney. And we've also got our 1/3 cup of chopped dried cranberries. Chop them about as fine as you can. They tend to get kind of gummy and stick together wherever they're cut. So to kind of combat that a little bit, we're going to take a teaspoon of cornstarch. And this will also kind of help them stay separate and stay suspended in the batter and not all sink to the bottom. And again, not be stuck together in clusters. So we're gonna just kind of plate over this and kind of shake it up just to get everything coated. Perfect. And that can kind of get set aside. Now we're gonna take our sugar, baking powder, and salt, and add them all to the flour and whisk together. And this is just to get everything distributed. Okay, now separately, we're going to combine the milk, the juice, the zest, the oil, and the egg. And I'm going to just beat this together. All right, now the wet ingredients go into the dry. And we're going to stir this a few times just until it is combined. It is going to be a lumpy batter. Do not overmix it. Okay, now we're going to mix in the chopped nuts and the cranberries. And I want to kind of be careful to leave any excess starch in the bowl. You can see how these are all kind of finely separated. So this helps ensure that every slice of this bread has some nice chunks of cranberry in it without, you know, some slices that get no cranberry and some places that get giant pieces of cranberry. And make it fair to everyone, you know? And I'm just gonna fold this together until everything is kind of combined. Again, trying not to overmix. Okay, I'm going to take our prepared 5x9 loaf pan, prepared in that we have greased it with shortening and coated it in flour. So we're going to add about half of our batter. And get that spread around in the pan. And we're going to add our cranberry chutney. I think this is actually a little more than a third of a cup. It might be a bit much for this. Yeah, I don't know if I measured wrong, but that's definitely more than a third of a cup. All right, now we're gonna top this with the rest of the batter. This already smells amazing. Cranberry orange muffins, I think, are one of my favorites as muffins go. I'm gonna spread this to the outside. I'm trying not to have the chutney make its way all the way to the edge. I want it to kind of stay sealed inside the batter, so I'm not doing a great job of that. Now, it's not the end of the world. I don't want it to spread out so much that it kind of causes a wet separation between the bottom half of the loaf and the top half of the loaf. I think it'll be okay, but okay, I'm going to take a skewer and just zigzag it around in the batter just to kind of get a nice swirl pattern in there with the cranberry chutney. And we are ready to go into the oven. So this is going to go into a 350-degree oven for about 50 minutes. You're going to want to check it around 40-45 minutes with a toothpick in the center. Once the toothpick comes out clean with no crumbs, you're ready to pull it out. Once it comes out of the oven, you're going to want to leave it in the loaf pan for about 10 minutes and then turn it out of the pan and let it cool completely on a wire rack. We will be back when this is ready to come out of the oven. Well, if appearance is anything, this is going to be delicious. But we do need to wait for it to cool. So hot out of the oven, we're gonna let it cool in the pan for 10 minutes first. And then we're gonna turn it out onto the cooling rack and let it cool the rest of the way. It does need to cool completely before we cut into it. All right, it's been about 15 minutes and this is still fairly hot, but we're gonna go ahead and try to turn it out of here anyway. Oh. Not bad. So you can kind of see what I mean there about the way the chutney sort of oozed out the sides. I was kind of hoping it would stay sealed. Yeah, at least half of the perimeter has that poking through. But nonetheless, I think it's still going to be good. We're going to just give this another hour or two to cool completely, and we will be back to taste it. All right, we have patiently given this 2 hours to cool. It is now time to cut into it. So as much as I would love to just cut right down the center, I'll cut from the end, but I'm going to cut thick slices and I'm going to cut a few of them. One thing I'm going to say before I even cut into this is I get the impression it's going to be more like a scone than you know, like a pound cake type of quick bread. Just from the looks of it, and actually the composition too. It didn't have buttermilk. It had it gets its acid from the orange juice, so I guess it doesn't need buttermilk. But I don't know, something just seemed different about it. So yeah, the chutney did in fact make a swirl. Let's see. Oh, it's definitely very moist on the inside. No, I think it would be good without the chutney, but it's so much more with it. That makes me wish I had a cup of tea. Yeah, this is perfect. No complaints. It's not overly sweet. It's nice and moist. Still a nice springy crumb. I mean, I really thought it was maybe going to be too dense. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you to those of you still watching who made it all the way to the end. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Click the red button down below or the watermark in the corner. And when you do, make sure you hit the bell icon so you get a notification every time I have a new video out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.